Happy birthday, honey.
Oh, I didn't think we were actually starting.
No, we're going to start with happy birthday, John. That's how it's going to start. No? Okay.
Well, I can't say it to my fucking self. Happy birthday, John, you lovely son of a bitch.
And a happy birthday to us on our 1-year anniversary retrospective after party special bonanza, which will probably be the same length as a regular after party. So disregard the bonanza part.
Does bonanza mean it's longer?
Bonanza means a variety of
trading
things.
beans.
It's a Western show from the 70s.
It's a card game.
I mean, I
It's
love
a
the game
fantastic,
Bonanza. I like to call
Rosenberg
it
game.
beans. Yeah. Oh, John is old.
John
Happy
is
birthday, John.
old.
We're just a 1-year-old. He's 49 years of experience. He's 1 year and 49 years of experience. So,
That's right.
I mean, you can bleep it
Yeah.
out if he doesn't want his age on there.
No, I don't give a shit. I'm, probably 3/4
Is that what
to
happens
death.
when you're over the hill? You just stop caring.
3/4. I had to take a second to do that math and to figure out whether or not you were overestimating or underestimating. And yeah, I think you got it right.
I'm probably on target, yeah. I didn't do the math either. I just always go by
Shot in the
fractions.
dark.
Oh, boy. Well, that's grim.
Oh my goodness. Okay. We are actually here to celebrate our 1-year anniversary and just kind of shoot the shit like we usually do and talk about the show.
Yep.
Hey, it's the day that we're recording is my mom's birthday.
Wow,
And I
no
couldn't
one
tell you how old
cares.
she is, so that's terrible.
You haven't been able to get her to listen yet, so.
She doesn't love me enough. I already knew that before we started podcasting, though.
Yeah, that's understandable.
So what are we going to talk about on this 1-year anniversary? 1 year. Now, we've been recording since, I think it was end of January of 19, right?
Yeah.
And then our first release was
Right.
on April 1st.
Quite a backup.
I've done a summary starting with episode 1. So if you guys just want to hold on for a sec, I'll get us rolling here.
Okay.
Right, correct. Right, uh-huh.
Hold on a second. I only have about 32 hours and 4 minutes of disk space for recording.
That should be
I might
perfect.
need a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I think we've got some interesting stuff to reflect on and talk about. We also have some kind of listener comments as well that we can chat about if any of them are relevant.
So, yeah, I'm fucking done with the show. I don't know
Yeah.
about you guys.
Yeah.
That's it.
So,
It's been great.
Everything else is ending. Why the fuck not? We just end this too.
the world is ending.
World Employment Podcast. Why the fuck not?
We have more time to record now. Let's just word it like that.
I got all the fucking time in the world now. That's for damn sure.
Get ready. It's 2020, April, May, June, July, madness. All right.
Oh, man.
So let's talk about what the hell we've been doing for
Yeah.
a year.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we've ever talked about, I don't know. We started this thing in January of 19. We actually started talking about doing something, way back in October of 18, I think, when I look back through it. And, think the whole D&D thing was just a way for us to get together and play and introduce the audios to what the hell we enjoy about role-playing. So
The audio's all right.
the audios, that's the way I say it in America. Yes.
That's close enough.
That's right.
So, you want to start there about what the hell we've been, or what brought that all on, or what you guys think? You got a bunch of crap here on this page.
Yeah,
Who wrote
which question are
Leland
we
wrote it.
referring to here?
Well, okay, yeah. Like John said, we start the show all just again. We kind of touched on how a lot of these podcasts get started. Last after party is we're just a bunch of peeps getting together and playing, and kind of just threw it out there a little bit, especially at the beginning. Obviously, we didn't really. I mean, we had a bit of direction, but certainly with producing a live play show, which is something none of us had ever done before.
Mm-hmm.
there was minimal direction. And obviously it was a lot of by the seat of our pants and off the cuff decisions we were making and admittedly still continue to make to this day. So that hasn't changed.
Sure.
So don't worry about that, listener. That'll keep going on.
Don't expect that. Anything new there?
We've gotten better at editing it out. I mean, we meaning you, but
Yeah. I'm a pro at editing out Elena's bullshit now, so and injecting more of my own. So
Yeah.
yeah, it all balances out.
but obviously in chapter 1, we started as a way to teach how to play. And that was mainly because we had half of the players were brand new to any type of tabletop role-playing game, right? You two had, Bill and Elena had never TTRPG'd before.
Right. Yeah, we
for sure.
we essentially, I mean, it was, looking back, it was a bit ballsy, really, of us to just start recording with Elena and I, who had never played anything
And we just pushed
before.
you right in the deep end.
Yeah. I did a little bit of part of what convinced, I've said this before, but I listened to some D&D podcast, which was part of what convinced me I would give it a shot, gave me the courage to give it a shot. So I knew a little bit from that. I had learned a bit from osmosis, but yeah, we were very, very green. I just went back and listened to our first few episodes today.
Oof.
And oh boy, did we ever
Yeah.
did we ever have a lot to learn?
All I know is I heard myself say, I'm from the Faelaren Forest. And Bill's like, oh. And I was like, where all the elves are from, you idiot.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
right
that was
away,
pretty
first
good.
episode.
Oh, yeah, that was a pretty good line.
One of the first things Bryn says to Falzarin is, where all the elves are from, you idiot.
I just was sass from the beginning. And I did, like, Leland had some questions just to get us, like, thinking. But, like, one of my comments that I had made was, like, in general, I think Bill and I, as new players, had, like, inverse situations and grew in opposite directions. So, like, I felt more comfortable just being some character, whatever, sassy role-playing, improv, whatever, knew nothing about the game. So you're describing the Arcanist to me. A breastplate, gauntlets, all these mean nothing to me. Like, I knew what a gauntlet was from watching Avengers. Like, that's it. That's how I knew about it. It was very recent. Like, I'm not into the lore, and I wasn't listening to podcasts. I like the terminology, stuff like that. I'd be like, what's a saving throw? Like, I'm just completely out of it, right? But then Bill had some of that knowledge, and he had to engross himself in that knowledge as well. I'm understanding now because of being a magic user.
Well, he didn't have that much knowledge. He didn't know what the fuck a buckler was.
Gauntlets are not little round shields.
Okay, well, bucklers, whatever. But, like, he was less comfortable with the role-playing. And, I mean, listen to Falzarin now. He can start talking for 5 minutes sometimes.
Totally.
I mean, yeah, he talks slow, but, I mean, he's role-playing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, do you two think that this learning to play this way was beneficial, or do you think it hampered? Like, very clearly, it's influenced the way the two of you have developed as role players. And again, I think a lot of that is also on the game master's style as well with new players, right? If you introduce new players into a game that is more combat heavy, then they're going to be used to and learn to expect combat. So one of the points I have here about our show in general is all of, like, chapter 1's entire motif, of course, influenced our show, and it did build it to what it is now. So looking back, it's always, I mean, I'm still really glad the way we started the show, but would we have been better off, the 5 of us, just playing for a couple months without recording anything?
I don't know.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple things you bring up there. One is, do I think it was good the way that I learned how to play D&D? And I think yes. And now I don't want to sound like I'm showering myself with praises, because I'm not a pro voice actor, and I'm not great at improv, but I'm kind of glad that I learned how to play D&D and that I learned how to role play in a game that is more role play heavy, because my inclination would be in another situation to just never get good at role playing, because I find that uncomfortable, and it's what I don't have a lot of natural talent at that. So in a different situation, I may have developed into a completely different role player who basically doesn't role play and just is there for the combat sort of thing, which is fun. But I'm really glad that I was forced to step outside my comfort zone. Yeah, I'm glad the way things went.
Well, that's cool to hear. You have Isabella to thank for that.
Yes, he certainly was a big player.
Injected that in there. I want to know what John and Emily think, because they weren't new. Like, what do you guys think? Do you think we should have played before a little bit, gotten better with each other?
It would have changed the dynamic of the podcast, definitely. It would have been a smoother start, but then we wouldn't have had all the learning things. You guys wouldn't be still learning when we were starting to release the podcast, so it wouldn't have been a learning podcast. It would have just been another podcast.
Yeah, and I think we would have expected things of each other, right? It wouldn't have been as natural. I think we just went into it. Like, we set the tone. The first thing I said to you was you were inept.
Yeah, that was funny.
It was just trying to just have fun and play and not worry about, I had little to no expectations that the show was going to do anything. I just wanted to have fun and play around, and I always wanted to do a role play heavy thing. So I thought, let's just do that and have fun with it. And then everybody just, since that was the tone from the beginning, I think we just developed that. So no, I think it was great to start out the way we did. And it really grew into the story that it is today.
I completely agree with all of that, for sure. And yeah, it's funny you say, like, who the hell knew what to expect when we started? I mean, when we started, none of us had met in person,
right?
And
right,
you all have yet to meet me in person. It's just we were all just,
that's kind of ridiculous. Like,
we were all just
crazy.
fucking randos on the internet. So
the world is not making it easy on us to meet you right now.
Yeah, right.
You've never been more than 4 inches tall to me.
Yeah.
Well, I am going to blow your mind in person.
I mean, if he's not lying about his height, he's taller than Bill. So we got.
Yeah, he's a giant.
I wrote down my thoughts. So let's see. Like, to answer your question of, like, should we have played together for a few months before producing a show? I said maybe, but we'll never know. And, like, I have no regrets and loved how we started off and how it was made so approachable to me. Like, literally every little aspect of the game was explained at first, and it needed to be understood by myself. And I told Bill this, like, we shared a player's handbook at first, and I was pretty much never opening that thing up. Like, I built my character, and as I leveled up, I was listening to what you guys said and helped me out, and, like, I just learned and memorized that way. And I mean, I recommended the podcast to a friend who is now our #1 listener, and she never knew how to play. Like, she's learned how to play. What if we took that whole aspect away? That's just, I don't know. You're just in another group playing, without explaining
and
anything.
we were very clearly trying to cater to a specific audience, absolutely. And at the time, we were trying to set ourselves apart. Now we're just like every other show.
I mean, do you guys think that if we played another RPG that's new to us, that we wouldn't end up doing the same thing? We probably would explain what we're doing as we go.
Probably.
I don't know.
That's a good question. We've never really had that conversation.
Because we got listeners that maybe don't know that other role-playing games, and we
That's
don't.
true.
Sure,
That's very true. And I definitely want to get into playing some other systems for sure. Other one-shot systems. That's a really good question. I don't know. I think we'd have to just definitely discuss that.
I think that kind of touches on the second part of what you're asking, Leland, and I have some thoughts on that. So I think the way we started was good and bad. I think it was good because it allowed, I really like that we did start off with our vision of demystifying D&D and role-playing games in general, and teaching how it all works. So someone could pick up our podcast who's never played before or listened to another RPG show before and learn how to play as they go. I think that's awesome. And we've had listeners write in telling us that they knew nothing about D&D before listening to our show and now are trying to find a group or are interested in playing, and that's amazing. And so from that perspective, I think it's worth it that we did that, but I'm really surprised at how many people from the board game sphere, who is kind of who we were targeting, assuming that a lot of board gamers haven't ever done RPGs. A lot of them have or are still playing RPGs. So I think listening as me now a year later, going back and listening to our first episode is kind of like, oh boy, like there's some very, very basic stuff that I'm having to listen to Bill and Elena struggle through here.
Yeah, but I think those laughs are the point. Like, it's literally
it's endearing
from square one
as well.
Teaching that we can do it. And
my favorite part of the show is listening to the two of you struggle. I just can't get it. No, my favorite part of the show is your growth as players. Like, quite frankly, listening right from the beginning until now, it's just, it's phenomenal.
And that's really cool. If someone wants to jump into a really polished, cohesive group that like is used to playing together, they're going to get that quality now downloading the newer episodes. But I mean, if they're like, oh, these guys are all right, let's download all of it, it's going to be a rude awakening. It's different. It's jarring, like the audio's worse, like in general.
Sure.
Like your background music, the sound effects, our role playing, our ability to like listen to each other and know when one's talking. Like, it's just been way better.
For sure. We've upgraded equipment as we've gone along, and we've gotten a lot better at knowing how to use our equipment and work with each other in this format, and on many different levels we've improved a lot. So I'm really proud of how far we've come.
You can edit me out when I'm talking over Bill now. I mean, that, like, we talked at the same time a lot in early episodes.
I think that was the most significant improvement we made, is when you two got into different rooms.
When we bought a second mic and
I started lying about my dice rolls.
Yeah, I was going to say, everything got a lot easier when you guys moved into different rooms.
Win-win-win.
We started actually hitting things and successes on all the saving throws. It was amazing how much better it got.
Leland is shaking his head right now.
Well, I know it's the ladies too. Like, I know it's the ladies. It's not John and Bill.
Because we know you'll forget.
It's Emily and Elena. Like,
I really haven't in a long time. I mean, we haven't played in a while, but I really haven't.
Wow, I haven't fudged a roll since February 22nd. The last time we played, it's been forever.
I think I haven't fudged a roll since we were on the Rising 3. I don't know.
Okay, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to fucking know.
The fact that you can even mention the time frame in which you did it.
Just don't tell me. I don't want to know.
I'm incorrigible. What do you want from me?
I do it so often I don't even know when I'm doing it.
Emily, she's brazen about
it. I really don't.
Just the balls on that woman.
You can roll dice on roll 20.
Yeah, I don't think we need to implement. Although I did roll better on roll 20 than I do in real life, so maybe we do need to implement.
You did, because you never actually didn't
this
actually
is like
touch
the double
dice.
check. Like, she's going to roll dice. John has to run upstairs, double check, watch her roll it.
John will pass out after about the third roll.
No, it's easy. I just increased Emily and Elena's DCs by 15, so it's actually really easy.
Hey. No.
You can balance
this
it
is
out.
too behind the screen here. I mean, you did pose the question, Leland, if we moved away from the teaching aspect too late or too early, like, but I mean, my answer to that is like, we organically were moving away from the teaching, as I didn't have to ask you, what do I add to that? What do I add to that? Like, every single time we played, right? Like, it was naturally us learning.
I think it went away from the teaching part, and then it became more rules correction, right?
True, yep.
And then you got to sort of remember that, the DM sort of makes the rules. The rules are there for guidelines, and then you don't need, if you start getting bogged down by all of that, every episode, then that it sort of sucks a lot of the fun out of the role playing part of it. Because when you get on a good role playing roll and everybody's going back and forth, you don't want to interrupt that situation for, a small rules correction or something. Just keep going.
Right. And yeah, I think you are both spot on. As Lena said, it did just become that we were moving it away from it. We didn't make the decision to move away from it. The show and the show's theme grew with the players. And then it came to the point where, okay, yes, we were starting to get bogged down a little bit. And now in chapter 2, we certainly are, again, we're full in on the role play, and we're less about bogging it down with the rules. Even in, actually, I forgot to mention in the last after party in session 74, dispel magic, like Mia, you have to roll to do it, right? So you could fail doing it, but it was such a good, I wouldn't want to interrupt and be like, well, hold on a second.
Oh.
Yeah, and he didn't want us to have those goddamn glasses either.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I think that it was just natural, and I think that, as weirdly, what am I trying to think of? As weird as it was to lose my first character, which Bill has yet to do, it could be coming up soon, right? But,
yeah, I'll pop that cherry.
But yeah, creating a new character, we had a second player's handbook at that point, and I really started reading it more cover to cover, and we had played long enough that I even could understand it, because I think it was a little bit foreign to me too, to just pick it up and try to read it without actually playing many sessions. So that and the one-shot creating a character really helped me learn a lot, and that was off mic. So
right.
Some of our learning, and we've listened to other role-playing podcasts and stuff, so some of the learning for me eventually came, but I literally, for our first few months of recording, put no effort into it other than showing up with a character sheet and being like, where is that? And maybe that's annoying for you guys, but it helped me really learn it.
I think you're also a bit fortunate that you're a rogue. There's less to know, I think, right?
Oh, yeah,
Especially
she's
for the
easier
first
to
couple
play.
Oh, yeah, I
levels,
think rogue is a very good starting class for newer players.
Bill, do you regret being a wizard first?
I feel bad for people listening to the first handful of episodes because of how poorly I knew my character. But honestly, it's if and when Falsey gets squished, like the squishy wizard that he is, it's going to be really tough for me to make another character that's not a wizard, because I love what the class is. So yeah, it definitely wasn't a smart choice for someone who knew nothing about how to play D&D, because there was a lot to learn, and it took me a while to get it all down. And I still don't have it 100% down. I have to look things up from time to time, whatever. But I really enjoy playing a wizard.
I think it was a great choice for the podcast.
Yeah.
Because as a magic user. Yeah. But Emily and John, you two at the time. Emily, had you played a barbarian before? And John,
Nope.
I think you had never played a ranger before either, right? So again, you get to experience some new classes, and then I know Emily, this is first paladin you've played as well with Shakara. So there's still lots of news for even the two veteran players. Shaft is basically a rogue with ranger type.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
That's really funny. Shakara doesn't forget her aura anymore. She helps Keck with it and everything, and it's like, how come you couldn't remember it?
Because I'd only been a paladin for 2 hours.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's all just, it is what it is, and it's been a freaking blast. I don't regret any of our decisions, because it wouldn't be what it is. It is the way it is because of the way that it is.
So trial by fire is the way to go.
I thought so. I don't know, but that's just me. Ask Bill. I'm grin and bear it and get it over with.
Yeah, and I think I have very poor organizational skills. I've never been a good student in school. I mean, thankfully, I've got a couple neurons floating around in my head, so I'm able to still get good grades with it having terrible organization skills. But anyway, someone who's not like me probably wouldn't find it so difficult, because they would make use of habits that could, they'd have spell cards written out. They might have, I don't know, lots of different things out there that you can do to make D&D easier for yourself in the moment. So you've got everything right in front of you. So yeah, I think anyone really could do it if you've got the desire.
I think it does have a lot to depend on your play group, especially if you are like forming a group of acquaintances, really. I mean, obviously we're all BFFs now, but but also your dungeon master too. I mean, I surprisingly incredibly patient in chapter 1. Like,
it's ridiculous.
It is.
I go back and listen to it, I'm like, what's wong with him? Like, why is he being so nice?
And what
He's a
happened to
deep
him?
scion. Leland's a deep scion.
Oh yeah.
So that has a lot to do with it too.
You can tell how our level of comfort has really
That's true.
gone up and up and up. It trends with Leland's lack of sympathy for us.
I think apart from class and race and those kind of things, the sort of the staples of who you are, I think the biggest thing that I found playing with you guys in this game is the investment in the actual character, like of Shaft, as I envision him, of these things that he's like and who he is and why he's doing the things he's doing. And you get an investment into the actual character. It doesn't really matter that, like you said, Leland, if he's more of a thief than a ranger, or, I don't even necessarily envision the whole halfling thing too much until it's, good for a joke. But it is how these characters from episode 1 to where they are today, how those characters have changed and grown and became, a piece of who we are as players. I think that's the cool part.
So I think Gozer's probably decomposing now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for the second time. So, yeah.
It's funny you don't think about the halfling thing. I think about what we look like walking down the street together all the time.
No, I think about it in that aspect, but I don't think about it as a character trait. Like, I mean, there's mechanics to that. And I don't always think about that until we get into a battle, or, I know the lucky feat just came in from time to time, but I don't think about the racial traits and the fact that he's a ranger, rather than just a sort of a half slimy ass bastard kind of guy, is much more Shaft than ranger or halfling. So my question is to you guys is, with your characters now, how do you feel that they've grown from the inception to where they are today with Gozer and Shakara and,
Bryn and Mia.
Bryn and Mia?
I got really sad thinking about Bryn. There was so much I wanted to do with Bryn. I wasn't ready. Like, she wasn't ready to die. So
Yeah.
I was just starting to, like, there were so many deep childhood wounds and, like, reasons for her to be the way she was. And I was trying to slowly
Close them.
change her a little bit. Yeah. And, like, heal them with the, like, misfit party that we ended up in. And it just didn't happen. And it was sad. And, like, it was a crazy grief process that I wasn't ready to expect because it was unexpected. But I don't know. Playing Mia has become easier. It took me, it was definitely uncomfortable at first. And I think if I listened back, I would hear that too. But it's only been 3 days with the party for Mia. So
Right.
there's a question about that too. Like, this has only been the whole year that we've recorded and released. It's been a month of game time.
Yeah, that's a little less, actually.
Yeah, so I think Mia in like 3 days, 2 nights with you guys has shown some things. Unless we spent a night on the boat. I don't remember. So maybe it's been 4. But anyway, how do you feel about Gozer's arc? You kind of had a say in the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, Gozer died because I was ready to move on from Gozer. especially after Thuff died, that kind of, I don't know, Gozer annoyed me. Playing Gozer annoyed me, and that wasn't as much fun. So,
What annoyed you how?
just the speech pattern and the fact that she didn't really say full sentences, and I know that's fully my fault, and that's what I made her be, but the fact that I would say something and nobody had any clue what I was trying to say because I couldn't use more words. And I was just, I mean, I liked Gozer's unpredictability and the chaoticness of being Gozer. That was fun. And I'm sure it drove Leland nuts, but I enjoyed that.
I think a good suggestion, if you ever play a half-orc again, that he be at least half Scottish.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had to learn how to do that.
Then we could really understand you. Yeah.
Because Leland can say a lot of words and we don't understand him, but
Yeah, if your character can if you can understand at least half of what Emily's next half-orc character says, then you're already a quarter up on Gozer.
As a listener and a friend and a fan, like, I'm happy that Emily now has some say in our, like, group and talks and, like, helps us. Because there are just so many things that, especially the way Gozer went to the sort of dark, depressed, who cares about anything, like, we weren't connecting dots. It was kind of, like you said, you were done with that character. And, like, Shakara is definitely invested in part of this plot, and helping us might be a little bit of a strong word right now, but...
Well, the only problem with the way that Shakara talks is I do get a little lightheaded if I have to say too much. I don't know why I keep doing this to myself.
Shakara speaks even slower than Falzarin does.
Yeah.
But it's
impressive,
it's constant. Really. Falzarin has, like, big breaks between his words. Shakara is constantly making noise. It just takes a long time to get out.
Yeah. Well, the tragic thing to me about Gozer is that she was always on the decline, and she never got that moment, maybe a little briefly when Thuft came around and with Thuft around, but really she never got that light at the end of the tunnel that Bryn almost... and was on her way to reach it. I mean, for Gozer, the reason Gozer is even out of the mountains was because she's down in the dumps and nearly dead or wanted dead. And then it's just kind of one shit thing after
I never
another.
got to use druid spells other than cast light or whatever stuff, stupid little
produce flame.
And, or produce flame, that's right. Because, like, I just had... plans for her to actually care about this side quest because she was so obsessed with the tower job, like being in the contract with Shaft. And I had her, like, hopefully going to be, what's the animal thing that you get level 2?
Wild shape?
Yeah, like, I wanted wild shape, man. Ugh.
Well, Mia could have been a full druid.
Yeah, there was a lot that went into the decision of becoming a cleric. I think we've talked about it.
we've touched
Basically,
on it.
There was a lot of pressure, but at the same time, I also really, really got into this idea of, like, a hammer-wielding...
Badass. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say it, but yeah. I love Mia, though. She's awesome.
well, when Shakara kills Mio, you can pick out a druid next time.
I do want to say, like, with Gozer was... I wasn't excited about where Gozer was going. I was just done with Gozer. But with Shakara, I am super excited about her storyline right now and what's going on. And
you're the only one.
I want to see where it goes.
Well, I do hope you are all excited about your character's storyline. I know it. I always struggle with, because to me, honestly, it just feels like a lot of it is always around Falzarin. And I hope it doesn't feel that way for all of you.
No.
It feels like Falzarin and Shaft, but then Shakara recently injected. And I mean, I've only been around 3 days, so...
Well, don't worry.
Hopefully
yours is coming.
Hopefully I survive to see the storyline.
Yeah, I totally hear your point, Leland. And I think, actually, we had a bit of an off-mic check-in a while back about how's everyone feeling about where the campaign is going. And I had brought up that I'm I worry that it's a bit of a Falzarin show lately, and everything that we're doing plot wise has a big influence from Falzarin's story. And I would encourage other people to do that as well. I think it's a really good habit to check in with the group on a regular basis and make sure that everyone's having fun.
You talking about us or the listeners?
Be honest with
any
listeners.
Group. Yeah, I completely agree. That's a great thing for any group to do.
Because this is supposed to be something you do in your off time to unwind. It's supposed to be a fun hobby. So the worst possible thing is that you're stuck in a campaign or in a group where you're not having fun. And some people are too shy to speak up about that unless they're asked. So
right.
I think that's a good thing to
Well,
have.
I mean, the great thing, I know it's funny when Elena, you say you feel like it's Falsey and Shaft. The great thing about John is John implements himself. Like, that's why John's a great role player. Is Shaft just puts himself into what he thinks he needs to put himself into. It's like I don't even have to sprinkle anything really for Shaft, because John is just like any crumb that I drop off for anyone else, John's like, hey, that looks good. Snatches it up. Or it's like, no, I don't want that shit. Get that out of here.
I'm just like saying, think about Mia meeting the group to getting to Heraklion where we're at. Like, what is there sprinkled? Like, there isn't a ton. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing it, but
For
I feel
you,
like there's not a ton.
I get what you're saying.
I chose to reveal myself as an Aasimar. I had my solo episode. Like, those things were cool. I'm not saying that I'm not getting enough airtime at all. I'm just saying, like, my storyline moments haven't happened yet. Maybe. I don't know.
You're right. They haven't. I do assure you that they are coming.
That's fine. Falzarin's storyline is very interesting.
Well, we spent the first half of it with almost no Falzarin. None of us had any idea of his background, where he was from, or anything.
That's so true. That's very true.
No one cared.
That's very true. But I understand. I totally get where you're coming from, though, Elena, because with Bryn, and again, it was kind of more there was also the factor of how I wanted to start the campaign. I mean, you all just basically started. You all had your own reasons for being in Zexa, and those reasons were immediately applicable to all of you. And that's how we started the campaign. So, of course, with Mia's introduction, there's already the train that's rolling, and Mia's kind of running after it to jump on. And at a stop down the road, some other passengers will get on that Mia may recognize, but obviously we're full tilt into something. So and that really is where the difference comes from. And those passengers certainly will be boarding, so don't worry about that.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why, as a character, I feel like I continually, I think Shakara is a little bit more invested with her suspicion of Falzarin and being with the group just through a few more experiences, like going down and seeing the cultists and things like that. Seeing her own uncle. She's got a little bit of a few things invested that I don't have. I feel like I continually have to sort of say to the listener, or to myself, even to you guys, like, why am I still here? Why am I still following you? And emphasizing, like, we need to warn them about the Kraken. I need to save Aspara, like that. I just have to keep injecting that in there, because otherwise it's like, I don't want to, just for a podcast, follow you guys around without explaining why my character would actually follow you guys around.
Shaft has not understood why he's following any of you guys around from the very beginning. Yeah. So you just got to go with it.
Super true. I mean, but Mia doesn't know that. Like, she thinks you and Falsey are pretty close and working on some stuff together.
So you feel that Mia wouldn't, like, do you feel like you're forcing that characterization onto Mia? Do you think she just wouldn't be around with them when you are all have at least even half-assedly at the worst agreed to pursue this Kraken problem?
If there was no Kraken and I met them, I don't know, but I would have had to find something else that then really concerned me.
Well, and that's totally fair, but I mean, currently, though, there is a reason for me to be around it.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, like, I guess, like, going to Heraklion, going to the party, like, it's all because of, it's like Kraken, business, still in my mind as Mia. Like, she's not just like, ooh, party for fun. I think Mia's like, let's take care of business.
I think everybody is.
Yeah, I think that's something that you're always going to have to do. Like, you're going to have to create reasons why a party of characters would stick together. If you want to, or you can just ignore it and not think about it. But if you want to approach it from a more realistic standpoint, you're going to have to try and, bend a little bit of logic or inject something that makes it more logical for them to hang around with each other.
I disagree with that. I think a lot of that falls on whoever's running the game. But it also does, to what you said, it does kind of depend on your style of game as well. Obviously, with our style of game, I will go to any length that I can to make it so you, as players, feel like there's a justification for your characters to be around and that you don't have to just push it aside and wave it away and say, well, we're making a podcast. I mean, that was something that Elena, you commented on in the past.
I used to say that
right.
a lot. I'd be like, why are you even with Falzarin especially?
Or even like
I put him in some positions.
Even like when it came to like splitting up and stuff, right?
Yeah.
You were very concerned about the show, right?
Splitting up,
basically.
Yeah, that's faded away.
And it has, absolutely. And I think that's probably, I assume, because more faith. Yes, exactly. More faith in the game itself.
Oh, I remember that. You were pissed off at me, weren't you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we got it.
I remember that. I remember a couple times going upstairs after we recorded and go, "Do you think she's mad at me, or does she? Do you think she knows we're playing here?"
Bryn got very annoyed with Shaft. Yeah.
Sure. That was.
Well, I think Elena got annoyed with John.
Well,
hey,
that was when Falsey got abducted by the big giant toad. For listener to
yes.
fill in case listener doesn't.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there were several times too where I'd be like, "Why are you following us to Falzarin?" and putting him on the spot, and he was mad at me for that too. So
well, that whole session was exacerbated by the fact that we lost some recording and we had to redo a bit of it, and there was some tension going on. That was pretty early on too, as far as our friendship goes as well.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely made a comment here in my notes already that like how do you feel about the rate of progression of our campaign and stuff like that, considering a month in game? Becoming Mia made it much easier on me because Bryn and Elena were very similar and getting frustrated with like, we've got the tower job, like on the back of my mind. And Mia doesn't care about that or know about that. So she's got one pressing concern.
Mm-hmm.
Made it easier.
So that's, a pace of the show. How do you feel overall about, as Elena, the pace of the show?
Ask someone else.
Well, okay. How about put the question put this way: is do you feel like your characters could use some more downtime?
For what purpose?
For any specific in-game endeavors that your characters might actually want to pursue, or just straight up downtime as far as role playing amongst the four of you, that kind of stuff. I mean, there are so many aspects to the game itself, not our game specifically, but the game in general, that you can take advantage of that we just don't. And it's predominantly because it's a podcast and we don't want a shopping episode every 3 fucking episodes. But it's also, that's my DM style. I don't like downtime. And again, something I touched on in AP24, how small I build my worlds, that also is inclined to decrease the downtime in general with a smaller scaled world.
I don't think I would enjoy playing aimless downtime or listening to it when it's us. Who knows? I mean, maybe we can make it fun, but I don't think that's part of it. I guess I hesitated to answer the pace question because yes, I think there are enough breadcrumbs in each episode and we always have a great cliffhanger and there is a story moving forward and there's obvious evidence that things are going on in the world, right? Like we're seeing the other metal animals and Izzy's now involved and like we know that. Those are big reveals, but like how long did it take to get to the point that Izzy is a part? Like I a little bit get I'm antsy. I'm antsy to solve this puzzle.
Yes.
But it's open-ended, so
I know.
you just keep on doing it until you...
I know.
I don't look at it as we're trying to get to the end.
No, I want answers. I want to know something.
Yeah,
definite.
I want answers, and I like plans.
I want to keep reading this
Everything
book.
we solve, everything we think we're solving usually leads to 3 or 4 other little threads that we can go on.
Exactly. True.
Okay.
And I like that.
Okay, well that's good to hear. I was gonna say, does that make you feel cheated? Which is nice to hear that.
No.
Okay, that's good to hear.
I think it makes for great content.
It gives you the ability to weave a web.
Right.
You can put things in together, or you can leave things just as empty, unanswered questions. And I think that it creates the world, right? You know that there's all kinds of crap going on right now as we're screwing around wherever we are. There's other stuff happening. That's what makes a great world building experience, and a great, when a DM takes the time to be able to build that. So you can do anything you want to, but there's always an answer to wherever you go and how it weaves together with the overarching story. That's what makes it fun.
Do you know what I think pisses me off the most? And there's not a lot that I'm
Bill?
actually
Bill, yeah.
No, it's not Bill. It's not. You know what it is? Surprise, surprise. What you said, John, is exactly true. Like, no one wants to watch a TV show where it's like, here's a problem. Oh, we solve it. Here's a problem. Oh, we solve it. Like, that's boring. Like, we make good content. I love the way Leland's doing it. What pisses me off is someone that we're hanging out with does have all the answers. And he's right there. And he's taunting us and teasing us and trailing this little breadcrumb trail. And, like, he knows. And so, like, if it was someone that we didn't know that knew, it'd be like, that guy sucks. But it's like, he's our friend, so it's just,
Wait,
it's like
you're saying Leland knows all the answers and it pisses you off? Wait, you actually think Leland actually knows all the answers?
Well, he knows enough, and then we help him fill in the blanks with our own...
I think Leland has, like, just a general
theorizing
guideline of what's going to happen.
Well, he carries himself in the way that's annoying, like he knows. So
I think our overall ineptitude makes it fun for the listener.
Well, that's what I was going to ask.
yeah.
I was going to ask you all, how many answers do you think the 4 of you have just not found or just neglected?
Lots.
Tons.
Oh, so many.
Tons. I think
Lots
you
and
leave,
lots.
not leave breadcrumbs. You put a loaf on the table and we walk by.
I mean, he puts a loaf on the table, though, and I was new to D&D, and I'm like, what's bread? Like, that's what I feel. Like, maybe now I should know.
Okay,
but,
I like that. I like that analogy. That makes sense.
Like Chucky dragging away the body and stuff like that, right? Like, totally blows over your head. You're not thinking.
That you shouldn't be telling the bar boy that you just killed somebody?
Yeah.
Yep. Just in going back and listening a bit in preparation for this, I'm noticing things that like, oh, how did I miss that until now? Like it's been a year, and I'm just noticing things that from the first few episodes that I never noticed before.
Are the Tritons deep scions? Because that would be something worth noting.
They are, and I can't believe I never connected the dots. Yeah, no, I agree with what John was saying, that having it doesn't distract, I don't think, or detract from the story and the show having multiple different side things, because I think a lot of them are woven together. We don't know that yet per se. We're finding some of that out, but that's what really adds depth and believability to this world is that there's more than just one thing going on. There's multiple layers you can peel back that are all simultaneously happening, and that makes it something you can get a lot more invested and dig your teeth into, I think. So side quests don't bother me at all. And I'm not sure whether I can confidently say that as a listener, side quests would bother me or not if it was a different show that I'm not a part of. If they were always going off and doing side quests, I mean, as long as they're interesting. I mean, most of the things that we've gotten sidetracked into I think are really interesting, and they, while they don't necessarily lead us any closer to the main, like this tower job or whatever the conclusion of the plot is,
You think the tower job is a side quest?
It is now.
Like, for example, the Gozer and Thuff's Mountain could have been a side quest that we didn't end up doing really, but like the job for Rugar Ailbender to go up Mount Necrosis, like these various different things, they're all really interesting. I think they'd be fun and cool to do, even though they would delay us dealing
to
with
look for the snow bloom that is not white, but we assumed was white.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see how Shaft gets the other 3 to do the tower job. Because once we're done with the Kraken, once we have that taken care of with the Tritons, there's no reason for Mia and Shakara to stay around.
Defeat the Kraken?
No, we're going to tell the Tritons and have the Tritons.
You dusted your hands off.
Dusted our hands of it because we told the Tritons, and now the Tritons are going to take care of it. It's no longer our problem.
Have you seen the tattoo on Falzarin's back? That thing is going to whoop some booty.
I mean, who hasn't seen the tattoo on Falzarin's back? He's been flailing it at everyone he can.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've dropped my wizard's cane. Let me just pick that up.
Let me just bend and snap real quick. So the side job that or side quest that I wish we could have done. Thuff's Mountain.
Yeah.
100%.
There's a lot of bad things in that mountain.
Just a big old dungeon.
We weren't ready for that mountain
Not
when we were
anywhere
there.
near ready for that.
Man, depending how the lot of you had handled yourselves in that mountain, had you pursued it further, this show could be very, very different.
I mean, we saw how Falzarin approached the ogre.
We could barely run the elevator. It was time to get the hell out of there before we smashed ourselves into the ground and killed ourselves.
This friendly ogre was waving at us, so I thought I'd just walk up there by myself.
That was fun.
Good job.
You know, I'll go out on a limb and say, if that happened again, I still think Falzarin would go up and talk to him.
Oh, for sure.
Well,
maybe.
So what do you all think was in that mountain? Or what? Or
Rich stuff.
Precious.
Toilet paper.
Well, obviously, magic items, because that's the only reason it would be completely different if we would have went there.
Ooh, of course. That's the only reason.
That's the only thing.
That's a big
We
draw
wouldn't
for
be slaves
me.
with tattoos on our head.
Potentially some information that could have maybe linked some things together, but you'll eventually give it to us.
We could have had a
anyway.
goblin army with King Gozer.
Yeah.
Maybe. That would have been really
maybe.
freaking cool.
That's
I'm not sure I want a goblin army though. Like those things, good luck with
But you wanted a revenant berry? Come on.
We could go back there today and clean that place out.
Maybe.
1 or 2 well-placed fireballs.
Who knows? Who
Let's
knows
do
what
it.
Leland has up his sleeve in there? Like there could be a whole guild operating out of this. It might not just be goblins in there.
The goblins and stuff wouldn't level up with us, would they? Right? They'd stay the low level that they were.
Whatever they were, they would
I mean,
be.
you take Thuft out of the picture in that whole scenario, there's no reason we would want to run around in there. We happened upon the place, tried to go get my lantern back, and then got the hell out of there. There was really, the only reason we even found the place is because we really ran out of road.
That's true, yeah.
Right? So the only reason we even keep on bringing it up is because Thuft and Gozer, and the idea of you going back to be king of that mountain, which none of the rest of us had any
Well, this
desire.
is not my character answering. This is Elena. I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to see what's in there, but I don't think we were ready at the time. But maybe I'm wrong.
I would really like to do the quest for Rugar.
Oh, yeah.
I think it would be cool to trek up the mountain in search of his father who disappeared and this flower.
Yeah, Shakara really wants to do that.
And we could get some more of that beer made that we never use.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I don't have any beer.
It's very stale and lost any carbonation at this point. Just sloshing around in our...
It's extra fermentation.
See, that's the kind of stuff that you have in your bag, and you look at it and you go, I'm going to save that for that really important time.
It takes an action to use it.
And then that really important time comes and you go, I don't think this is that time. And you just carry the damn thing throughout your whole existence of your character and then somebody dies and picks it up, and then they go, "This is great. I'm going to use that for that." Really?
Yeah, right. Well, it lasts a freaking hour or whatever.
I started deciding
it
to
is.
use stuff. Like, I got a potion of greater healing from Campbell, and I used it. I was like, I'm just going to use stuff.
Yeah.
Nope. That's
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
That's the better way to do it.
Yeah. And this is another example of where I would recommend anyone who is thinking about playing D&D to not be disorganized. And I've decided that I'm going to make little item cards for every magical item that I have, and they will be sitting directly in front of me whenever we play D&D from now on, so that you can't forget about it.
You heard it
They're
here
right there.
first, guys. We're going to hold them to that.
Yeah, I decided
We're
that
all
like 3 weeks
quarantined
ago,
in
and
here.
I've already made them. Definitely made them already.
Yeah. Oh man. So what NPC would you guys want to see
Campbell.
more of?
I like Campbell.
I like Campbell.
I also really like Horik. And I like both of them mostly
Stand
for their
Horik.
accents. Campbell's funny though. Campbell, I like. He's got some interesting personality as well.
So you guys both say Campbell, John?
I'm still thinking, but I mean, I really like Grimby.
Magic guy.
But he's
too.
sort of
Yeah, does he have a name?
He wouldn't
No.
tell us.
no.
Names hold power.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love the random things you lot remember. Like,
He's probably
Jesus.
freaking Samuel Coltis. It's like
He may
Samuel
be.
Coltis didn't want to tell us his name. I
That's a good
had Campbell
idea.
on as one of my favorites as well. Statdorf was freaking hilarious. I loved their back and
Yeah.
forth. That was really fun. And someone that I don't even know that we've heard of, but I'm interested in as Mia is interacting with Hannah, the underground art stealer.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool to get some of that in.
You guys gotta get back to
I'd say
Drupal.
Nina, so Leland and I can flirt together again.
Leland, you hitting on my man.
He's hitting on me.
Is Nina even alive though?
We don't know.
I don't know. Who
She's
knows
got the
what
sickness.
state the city of Victor is in general.
She is down with the sickness. Leland, what NPC do you want more of?
I very much enjoy Campbell. I find his accent actually surprisingly easy to do, and I also like his I would love to play Campbell as like a PC. Like I would love to make Campbell and play Campbell in like a one shot or something. I don't really know what he would be. I guess maybe a wizard, but yeah, I don't know about a wizard. Maybe a sorcerer or something.
It'd be the
Artificer?
what's the new class?
Oh, an artificer, yeah. I had to play
There you go.
Alstoff Tinnerman to be an artificer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Campbell would definitely be a sorcerer.
Yeah, I think so. I would really like to check in with Blake and see what's going on in Goldham. See how that city's
yeah.
faring.
Well, we haven't had any of those little side story things for a while where you sort of show what's going on in other parts of the world.
But yeah, the last after credit thing that wasn't a March Madness, I don't think you were able to listen to. I had to look at my notes to figure out what exactly it was. Oh yeah, I remember what it was. Yeah, no,
What
you
was it
can't
again?
listen to
All
that
the deep
still. You still
scions
can't
and
listen to that.
Crackly on meeting together.
I could just see, Blake Lakely getting his nails done and talking to the lady, or getting his hair cut or something and talking about stuff and spilling the beans way too much.
It was Mia's parents being murdered in their temple. My backstory is yet to come.
Yep, I'm just filling that train.
This is the part where I give you ideas. Please don't. Please. Bryn's parents were murdered. Please don't.
So what was the question? Oh, NPC, okay.
Yeah, so now Leland has to talk like Campbell the rest of this episode because we all said it's our favorite, so.
No, I don't do NPC voices in the after party. That's like
That's right.
a rule I have with myself.
It's a line
Since
he does
when?
not
Do
cross.
it. Do it.
Bad enough I have to sing once a death.
Oh, yeah.
So, John, who is it?
I already said, I think
He
I
said
would...
Grimby.
I would go
Oh,
with
I'm
Grimby
sorry.
just because Grimby is, I almost think of Grimby as that, fifth character, really. he pops up when you need him. He's there with a boat, and I think he's probably been he's got our back, I think.
Yeah, he's kind of become that, hasn't he? But like, he was borderline a throwaway NPC way back in the day when he was first met. Just setting sail from Port Randus on the Rising Starfish 1.
Yep.
Yeah, I really like Grimby. I really do like Grimby. Do you guys think that Aspara has any heroes, any actual heroes? Do heroes exist in Aspara?
What is Mia? Come on.
Apart from us, naturally.
I would say Mia's mentality is certainly the closest to like a stereotypical hero, but like we've yet to really come across. I mean, Tolstov was very heroic.
Yeah.
Before he met his untimely death, but
yeah.
Do you mean good?
There are good people.
yeah, maybe not. Maybe I don't mean me good. Maybe I really mean self-sacrificing in that way. You know what I mean? Like, have we met somebody that would throw themselves into the fray for the sake of other people?
The Grung.
Do you think the Grung are heroes?
They are the closest
No.
thing that Aspara
No, they got
has.
paladins bound up as slaves.
But they are taking out the paladins and doing their best to protect their lands and their family. They are heroes to their community.
Grimby is a true... No, I'm just kidding. He has some self-serving purposes. I think Mia really tries to be... Here's the thing. If Mia threw herself in front of people, in harm's way or, like, put her life at risk, the reason why Mia thinks herself a hero, and I would claim she is a hero, is that she sort of thinks she's invincible and wouldn't die. So...
Yeah, so that seems fairly selfish to me.
Yeah.
So then why if she
she's
believes,
willing to sacrifice herself,
but she believes that
wouldn't.
she won't have to pay up on that sacrifice.
Yeah.
So then what does she really get out of it? I mean, what does she get? Like, what drives her then? Just like, oh, this is easy. I can do this. Buy Thor's hammer.
She doesn't necessarily think she doesn't necessarily think everything's easy. I think she's almost testing her own strength. She thinks she's part god. She's potentially delusional about that, but she thinks she is. So she, like, the more she can do and the badder and bigger she can take on, like the rush and the knowledge that she's just reaffirmed in her own. Do you know what I mean?
I say no.
I mean, that's what Shakara set out to be. She set out to be a hero. I don't think she's accomplished that, but that was her original goal.
And do you think she's on her way to accomplishing that?
I think she's trying.
I think that it is very questionable on what and who is the right person to follow here. And we could be very easily backing the wrong side at any given time. And that's what I like about it.
I'm trying to play Mia like a superhero, like a Superman type.
It seems like most of the people on Aspara are regular people that are just trying to live.
Not die.
And then the other half of the people we meet are underground, dark society. You don't really want to know that they exist kind of people.
Well, they all have an agenda.
What about, like, Geneva, someone who's actually hearing us out and seems trustworthy?
Seems trustworthy.
Sorry, we haven't met. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, actually, by the
Rewind that.
time this comes out, session 76, 2 episodes would have come out at the party. So I actually don't know where exactly we are.
She talks to us at some point. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I think overall to your question, no, I don't think there's any. I mean, if you take our characters out of the mix, I don't think there's anybody out there that is doing anything unselfishly. They all have their own agenda.
Yeah. I'm not sure I would call Falzarin a hero. I think he's very reactionary and finds himself. He initially set out not to do anything noble or heroic. It was just out of curiosity more than anything, and now he's just reacting to everything that keeps getting thrown at him and just trying to survive, basically. So, and I think his own survival is priority number one. So that's not very heroic.
You know what? Mia probably isn't. Like, superheroes, how often do you see them actually outright kill people that are attacking them? They just, like, knock them unconscious and move on.
And that's why they end up getting killed.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. Like Daredevil types.
Amen,
right? Like,
sister.
Grimby was pretty
Who?
heroic. Grimby, when he
Yeah.
jumped out of
Yeah,
the
but he
water
is
on that clam
self-serving.
boat. Well, when he got out of the water on the clam boat and went around killing the drowned.
And we said, who can take us? And he said, I'll take us.
Yeah.
He was pissed that someone blew up all the explosives in the bottom of his boat.
Well, yeah, there's that too. But he didn't have to offer to take us with his explosive boat across the sea to the island.
Why did he have explosives in the bottom of his boat going to Heraklion?
Explosives?
Like, who on
What explosives?
Who on Heraklion wants a bunch of fireworks, man?
I don't know. Well, maybe never know.
So, okay. So
Probably
Grimby, the blowing up of the Rising 2. Also, keep in mind that Pisces' port was locked down. Meaning, wherever Grimby, maybe it was Heraklion, Grimby intended to get those explosives to, or whatever was in that hold. That boat wasn't leaving that Pisces dock.
Oh, he used us.
So, Grimby ain't as self-sacrificing as he is out to be himself either.
He's an opportunist.
Well, I think Grimby's a little more complex than just being an opportunist, but
So he was happy for a reason to be able to get his ship out on the seas again.
if he had to be somewhere for a certain time, I don't know.
He's an assassin.
He's in
We're getting too much into this current plot.
yeah, maybe.
He's working for Detmer.
So was that another way for you to say what you have here as a plot question is how fucked do you really think Aspara is?
yeah.
Very.
Is that
Very.
so? Let's briefly go over the world. Right, you've got aliens that invaded down in what's your hometown, Mia? Barrack.
And the Vargreg Mountains. And they're doing mind control on the orcs.
You've got the paladins down there, and then you got the disease and Victure. You've got Goldham that's being overrun by all kinds of crap. You've got
The Black
Kraken.
Ooze.
the Black Ooze stuff. Yeah, you've got the Kraken. You've
Cultists.
got, I mean,
It's
Eric.
bad.
yeah,
It's real bad.
Izzy.
It's a screwed up place.
Aspara has seen better days. I would assume.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe it's
I
always
would
been this way.
assume.
Maybe these are the good days.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is scary to think about.
Why hasn't everyone left?
There's been
Why did they stick around?
Don't think there's anywhere
There's
to
been
There's
go.
that
nowhere to
meteor
go.
shower every 19 years for who knows how long, my family said. So, like,
Yeah.
something with that's been going on a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Falsey needs to go investigate that.
There's really no safe place in Aspara.
No, yeah, and that's what Chef says. Like, this is as safe as it gets, Mia. Like, sorry. Like, all right, cool.
I think Falsey's tiny hut is as safe as it gets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm sure Leland has come up with some ways that he can screw that over to make it less safe.
Well, I mean, you're all pretty safe in Heraklion right now. So far, so good.
Yes.
Are we?
There
Well,
is.
everybody but Falzer is pretty safe in Heraklion right now.
We're safe from everybody but each other.
Jess did have a couple questions, right?
What did you
Yeah.
want to talk about? How we feel the rate of level progression is in the campaign? If it's too slow or too fast?
Too slow.
Too slow. Well, that was a question more centered on the 5th edition system itself, and obviously there's still lots of flex in whoever is running the game. I don't know, like it's been a month in game, and you all are like, I don't even know what level you are anymore. I've lost count. Like 7, 8.
I think we're combined levels.
Look.
Well, 7.
Seven.
Yeah, in a month's time, you have all advanced.
I think that's more than adequate level progression. I've obviously never played higher level D&D, but I have heard lots of people comment that I've heard a lot of people say that they really enjoy the lower levels, and the style of play really changes. It seems like, depending on like the way a GM has to run a game for characters who are level 1 to 5 or 5 to 10 versus 15 plus. Like, that's a very, very different game, because the characters are just so overwhelmingly powerful once you get up into those high teens that things are going to have to really change.
Or
to
so
make it.
You think. You've never been there before.
Oh, if Falsey makes it up to 18 or 20, look out. It's going to get real.
And then you're going to roll a bunch of ones.
Yeah. Honestly, I forget that we're supposed to be getting experience. I'm just enjoying telling
What the fuck
this
do you mean
story.
supposed to be?
You're supposed to be giving us experience, damn it.
Like, okay, like, after each play session, sometimes we don't get experience.
No.
And then you say, oh, I forgot to give you experience. But none of us are walking away like, ugh, he didn't give us experience. We just had fun, and we walk away happy.
Yeah, exactly. So there.
Boom.
Damn it, you make us happy.
Obviously, you don't have cool stuff at your next level.
That's the other thing, is I'm not sitting here reading the book looking at, like, what's coming up next. Who knows?
I'm actually
just
quite
having fun.
looking forward to the next 2 levels.
Ooh.
Okay.
Let me quick look up what I'm going
Do
to
you
get.
get Zone of Truth or something there, Shakara?
No.
Useless spell.
You cast 2 zones of truth on Shaft. You might get them in it.
Yeah. And if you have Deep Scion magic, good luck.
Oh yeah, 7th level was the boring level for me. I get another divine domain feature.
Oh, I agree with what you were saying there, Bill. I really enjoyed the lower tiers of play. I think once you get above 10 for me, it does become a bit of a challenge to run the game. And I have very limited experience running a game for players of that level or higher. And thankfully, though, I don't know how much of a problem it'll be for us, just because, again, we are so role play heavy, where I think a lot of the challenges that a game master comes across at higher tiers of play is balancing combat encounters. Because, there are so many fantastical things that high-level players can do of all classes and races that it's tough to balance. But, though, there are a lot of real cool high challenge rating creatures that either you just don't use at lower tiers, or you dumb down and kind of lose potentially a lot of what makes those creatures so cool. So obviously there's pros and cons to all tiers of play.
So if I would have asked you a year ago and said, hey, a year from now we're 8 episodes in, what level do you think our characters would be at 70, or say 90 hours of play?
I would have said higher than 7.
Oh yeah, I would have said
I
higher
would have said
too.
like 11 or 12.
Wow. Yeah. Well, again, I am more milestone based when I award experience as well. So you guys have done fuck all. You're lucky you're 7.
He had that one in his back pocket, didn't he?
Well, I'm officially looking forward to level 8 because I just looked it up, and at level 8, I get to deal 1d8 extra thunder damage to every time my weapon attacks. So my hammer, if I throw it, is 3d8 plus 6.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh, overpowered. I think Thor might have to come back down and take his hammer away from you.
Oh.
Yeah, you just guarantee we're going to be fighting bigger bads.
No.
Yeah.
Just bigger baddies and more minions.
Yup.
It is kind of interesting we've made it this far and the party is not fully equipped with magical weapons.
I mean, I don't know who's responsible for that.
Who's the one that gives it to us?
No, I guess that's not true. Like Shaft has Bryn's bow, so there we go. It's okay. Never mind. Forget I said anything.
He's handed out one magical.
Shaft's got the +1 bow.
What does Shakara have that's magical?
Shakara doesn't have any weapons that are, I don't think.
I don't have any weapons. I have a brooch that gives me.
Okay, and then Bill,
bonus
what
to
do
my
you have
shield,
that's
my
magical other than
I have
yourself?
the cap of casting actually, so that gives me a
That's
+1.
it. Freaking
Falzarin
Sardo.
is a magic user. He doesn't need magical weapons. And so I only bring that up.
Whatever, I am too.
So for obviously Eleni, you probably don't know, but I bring that up because a lot of higher tier creatures have resistances against damage that aren't dealt from a source that's considered to be magical. So like a normal rapier would do half damage to a lot of higher.
Oh.
So that's why I bring that up.
Ooh. So my hammer be sweet.
Yeah, so your hammer will break through any of that resistance.
I honestly think you gave me that hammer, like, because you felt bad that Bryn died unexpectedly. Like, you were feeling sorry for me, and so it's a way better hammer than you would have if I chose to create a new character. I'm pretty sure you felt bad for me.
I did it first, but the hammer, I gave you the hammer because I really liked your character concept, and I thought it was really cool, and I wanted to enable it. And that is why your hammer acts and is the way it is. And that's the story I'm sticking with.
You want to take the axe away
Yeah, I
from
had
me.
to take something from Shaft. Shaft was getting...
Yeah, that would have been magical for you. Yeah. I still love picturing Shaft walking around with a long bow on his back.
I know, right?
Just like
same height as him.
dragging on the ground.
Yeah, a third of it is dragging behind him.
I constantly have to do pass without a trace, except for the bow mark.
He's really sneaky,
Just
though.
like skinny, scrawny wizard. And then you said that Shakar doesn't have any hair or anything. No helmet, but like no hair. Dragonborn, like, how tall are you then?
Like 6 foot, over 6 foot.
Yeah, so like Shakara and Mia are taller than the men, probably. And,
No,
and then
Falsey's over 6 foot. I think he's
Oh.
6'1", something like
yeah,
that.
you're like a beanpole. though,
I'm
right?
6'3".
Oh.
Yeah,
like a
and
beanpole
Falsey's
and a
pretty light.
halfling, and then you got like the 2 plated armors.
Yeah.
Like I just love
Shakara
it.
and Mia
I
are
just love the
fucking
way it looks.
beefcakes, for sure.
Yeah.
I kind of picture my what physique kind of as like Xena warrior princess.
Yeah.
Like,
Hell yeah.
just like
Hey!
biceps for days. Yeah.
Oh boy, I could do without that. I'm glad that's not something that Mia does.
Oh, I also, when you were listening back, Bill, I realized how much Bryn annoyed everyone as you like. Bryn was annoying. I loved playing her, but she was kind of
quirky
annoying,
and sassy. It was an interesting character concept.
Yeah.
All of your characters at one point or another have really, 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 really made me angry, so...
Even Mia
Mission accomplished.
and Shakara?
Not yet. Me and Shakara, not yet. But the OG 4, yeah, every one of those fuckers have really pissed me off before.
Oh, man. Fun times, you guys. It's been
That's
such
one
a
of the
good
most
year.
rewarding parts about the podcast is knowing that.
Oh, man. It's just been fun, right? That's all we wanted to do is have
It has
fun.
been really good, yeah.
Yeah, mission accomplished.
So Leland, where is Sally?
Yeah, hashtag
We
where's
don't
Sally?
we don't
Yeah,
know
we
where
had someone
Sally
ask
is.
that, I think.
Dean? You're just not going to tell us?
She's on an island with Statdorf, and they
Does he ever
are
tell us?
living happily ever
Maybe
after.
she's okay. Maybe you'll find her again. Yeah.
You're so
I
mean.
know that you guys think I'm joking when I say that, but I really think that that's what's happened, and it makes me very happy.
Same.
Think about Sally and Statdorf just on an island, making a little lean-to shelter and sipping out of a coconut, kicking back on the beach. What a
One
life.
for the brain and one for the brawn. Statdorf!
Oh, yeah. Killian's who I want to hear more of.
I really like Killian too. Yeah. I hope we do more backstory Shaft that everyone can listen to with more Killian in it.
Yeah. All right, let's hit on some of these other questions here. So, what did Jess ask? Does somebody have that
Yeah,
up
I
in
do.
front of them?
Chess a lot as usual. Just drones on and on and She's
Hey, I
Jess has
asked her
some
for
extra
questions, all right?
Leland, so you just be nice.
I specifically asked her.
well. So then I will blame you as well. You are also half to blame.
That's fine.
So our first question is, looking back, what message or advice would we give ourselves on day one of playing / recording this campaign? I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit, I guess, but like I don't know what I would tell myself. I was really rusty too, because when we first started, I hadn't ran a game in a couple of years at least, so I was very clearly almost out of my element, and like I felt like I was so shitty. So probably don't be shitty is what I would tell myself.
That's always sound advice in all kinds of situations.
That's
so.
very, And then past me would be like, yeah, that sounds like future me, and probably just not take it and ignore it. Emily, what do you think? Would you have any words of wisdom for yourself?
For when I was trying to be the DM myself, look over all of the stuff and make sure you have answers for everything, whether it's actually in the book or not. Just make it up,
Right.
Go with it.
Yeah.
Just go with the flow. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about.
But then, as a player,
don't worry about where.
As
Sally
a player,
is.
I would say, just be your awesome self.
Yeah, you got nothing to worry about.
I'm good. No, just read over what your character can do and come up with a good backstory and try and remember what you said about it.
John?
I think I would have taken some more time to think about the interactions and backstory of Shaft a little bit more up front, and realize that it was going to grow into a bigger picture. So when you have interactions with people throughout the game, knowing that might mean more later on down the line. As I really like going back and exploring his backstory, and then I start listening to the things and interactions I had with like Nina and things like that, and how it would work in. I think if I would have taken a little more time and explored those kind of things, I think it would have built a little bit more robust character. I think if I could go back in time and tell myself that's what I would do. I'd sit down and write out a little bit more.
How many pages was your backstory in the beginning?
2 or 3, something like that.
How many pages was everybody else's backstory in the beginning?
I don't remember. 2?
I think mine would have fit on 1, probably. Maybe 2.
Mine was 1, I think. So you saying go back and making your backstory more robust is funny.
Well, I use really
me.
big text.
No, you don't.
John's eyesight's not great.
That's right. The eyesight's not that good.
I have one other thing I thought of for me. Don't pick an accent you can't stick with.
There you go.
Yeah, I still have to learn that. Hork! Hork!
It's a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah, the problem you have is you don't know when an NPC is going to stick.
That's true.
That's true, too.
That's so true.
He might have an idea, but yeah.
Although, you know what, though? I think the ones that actually have thought out voices are the ones that stick.
Probably.
I would have told myself to listen carefully, take better notes, and what Leland says matters and is clues.
It's on record, everybody! It's on record.
I honestly didn't realize D&D was like you dropping clues for us to work with. Like, honestly, didn't get it. Just, yeah. I was new, but yeah.
We
I agree,
didn't
better
pick
notes.
up on that either for the first half of this. Yeah, Leland says things in a certain way for a certain reason.
It's very important when we're roleplay heavy, right?
Yeah.
Which is different from other campaigns for you guys. So
Right.
it was us learning Leland's DM style.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he says cavern, he means it. So, pay attention.
Yes. There's a reason he's been saying
If
southern.
it's not a cavern, it's a coral urn. So yes, that's true.
It's all a clue.
What do you think, Bill? You're last.
Yeah, you guys have kind of covered it, I think. I think time spent creating a deep and meaningful and interesting backstory for your character is not wasted. I think that's time well spent. If the more you can put into it, the better. And I think going back and reviewing things and reflecting on your character is also time well spent, because the times when I've enjoyed things the most are when I've felt like I really played Falzarin well. And the times when I've been frustrated are when I felt like, oh, that was stupid. That didn't make sense for Falzarin to say that or do that. That's when you kind of break the suspension of disbelief, and the immersion is when you don't do your character service. So yeah, I would say spend more time thinking and just reflecting on the backstory. Whether, I think definitely you should spend some time beforehand if you're going to do it justice, but then also revisit it often. And you can always add more too. Like you can work more into your backstory as the campaign's going and chat about it with the DM, and that's going to make the experience more rich for you.
Not actual gold, though. He doesn't mean
No.
I mean, Leland would never give us actual gold.
But yeah, and the other thing is organization too. Like I've seen so many cool things that people have thought up for ways to be creative and organized, and I think I've got a big amount of room for improvement in that area. That's just me. I mean that's I'm not
just
organized
good life
in any
advice
sphere
for
of my
yourself,
life,
honey.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, part of when it's felt overwhelming is because it could have been addressed by adopting some more creative ways to keep things organized.
Yeah, little better habits at the table.
Yeah, that comes down to, like, I took very poor notes for I don't know how long until I started realizing that, what, having notes is really helpful, and you should have your notebook out and ready to go with lots of space to write, and you should pay attention to that as you're going. Like I always did take notes, but they've gotten a lot better as things have gone on.
I mean, it is difficult to take notes as you play too. I mean, it's very fortunate that our plays are recorded, like, really, even for me too. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
it really helps avoid continuity errors for myself. Like, otherwise there'd be
Yeah.
random shit happening all over the place that some listener out there would be like, wait a second, this was a cavern before, not a coral urn. Why is it a coral urn now?
I've also started to just be a bit more disciplined, and if I know that I missed a chunk of what happened because I was having to be role playing or whatever, be engaged, and I couldn't be taking notes, I will try and force myself to spend 5 minutes after we're done playing and the Skype call is shut off, and just go back in and fill in the notes that I missed. Whereas in the past, I've just left it like, oh, I'll remember, and no, I won't.
That's a good idea. Do you want to, maybe share those notes with the class next time?
Nope.
I don't really want Bill's notes trying to remember what just happened. I still think they're probably missing some details. Also, he might make him seem more like he's not a deep scion. He is, so.
They're very biased notes.
Yes,
That
very
deep
biased.
scion
It's fake
magic.
news, really. It's the fake news.
Well, speaking of deep science, one last thing from Jess. What has been the biggest surprise of this campaign, / the thing you least expected aside from Brendel? Because everyone knows that the Brendel gambit was a masterful crafted exploit by myself. So, other than the Brendel thing,
Tough.
that was a
Tough
surprise
dying.
to all of us.
That was sad.
I don't think that was the biggest surprise for me.
I mean, I was surprised when he died, but I'm not surprised
That he
at this
did die?
point if anybody dies, right?
Yeah.
Well, he was the first death, though.
Yeah. It was a good way to get that situation where it could happen out of us, so when it did happen with the main character, I think people were more shocked at Thuff than main character deaths.
Yeah.
right? I think the reaction was much better.
Thuft was Thuft was tough.
They just didn't like Bryn that much. I mean, let's be honest. Or Gozer.
Someone has said on record that Bryn is his favorite of the characters.
Well, yeah, because he knows what's up. But
won't drop his name again.
The biggest reveal, wasn't that what she said, or was it surprise?
Biggest surprise.
Surprise, the thing you least expected. I think for me, I mean, obviously, it's a weird standpoint for me to be answering this question, but I was really, really, really shocked at Thuft's death. I did not think that disease would kill Thuft. I thought like it would really hurt him pretty bad, but I didn't think he would, a couple of bad rolls don't go his way and he's goo.
Yeah, that was surprising. I originally, when I read Jess's question, my answer was the fact that it's actually confirmed that Isabella has something to do with the towers and the paladins and the metal things and the stuff. That was a really big surprise for me. Because we were listening to Shaft roleplay that. We weren't, we were able to hear that. I don't know if, you know how, when we're singled off, the listeners don't know what we've heard and what we haven't, but we heard that,
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was surprising, too.
Coming to Heraklion and finding out that there are things being made on island, or for whatever reason, there's things on the island there that have to do directly with the Paladins of Cultus was a big surprise for me. Finding out that there is, I guess once I knew that Brenda was a Deep Scion, then finding out that there's another Deep Scion on the island of Heraklion isn't a big surprise. But in my mind, I didn't think Heraklion was going to be infiltrated with baddies. And so also finding out that Isabella is a guest of honor at this party, and there's more stuff that we're going to be finding out about Isabella that I think would be spoilery to talk about right now, but that's all. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I think the things that you guys said are the shockers. Yeah. Isabella, and I really enjoyed the fact that Shaft used his scrying stone and sort of knew some of that ahead of time. I thought was that was a shocker. So what did
Shaft know ahead of time? That she was a hag, or that she was involved with the Paladins?
I think we were sort of on board with her as Dr. Good with not much of an issue until he saw her making this frog-like creature out of the whatever it was, a bowl, and summoning this creature. That was the first time I think we knew.
Okay, because I still never listened to that, so I didn't know.
He knew that, and that's why immediately after, if you do get the chance to go back and listen, it's suddenly I'm going, let's get the hell out of here, and hey, why don't you call your friend and tell her we're going to Victor? And there was all these things that I was trying to do, but you guys didn't know that piece of information, and I thought that was fun.
So did you know that she was involved with the Paladins when she tried to? Okay, so when you went to Elstoff, you were just shooting in the dark, hoping. Wow, wow. What if you were wrong?
It's risky, but we got information.
Wow.
Yep.
It
was very good. It was very
Leland,
good.
that wasn't surprising that he...
I was very surprised that Shaft got that information out of Elstoff. I was, like I said last time, I was pissed, actually, because it ruined 74's reveal.
It's actually really funny. You're the one who gave him that information.
Of course, because he got it out of Elstoff, and Elstoff would have given the information.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so weird that you can be pissed at something that you just did.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. But it wasn't me, it was Elstoff. It was that bastard Elstoff.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you have a bunch of personalities in your head. Might need to get that checked out.
Leland's a very complicated man.
I'm a very complicated man.
Yes.
Oh, wow, this turned out pretty good. I know Bill was so scared it would be so shitty. Oh, sorry. We have another.
We have one question from Emma on Facebook.
On what?
Oh,
what
nice.
platform? I'm sorry, what?
Facebook.
I've never heard of it.
On the
Never heard of it.
Facebook.
I
I don't know what that is.
Books of Faces.
We have a page on Facebook that some people occasionally pay somewhat attention to.
Thanks, Mike.
It's a group, actually.
What's
There's
the
a whole
question?
group, but book is singular.
Yeah.
How can there be a group? Group is plural.
Oh my gosh, it is going on 2 hours of this podcast soon, and this is.
So
you guys signed up.
Emma
for something
asks, do you actually still like each other?
Aw. As characters or as players?
As players.
It's a very thin edge of a blade that I'm on, and sometimes I'm teetering one way, sometimes the other.
Honey, that's private.
I will happily say that I very much love all four of you.
Yes. The feeling
I
is
was like,
reciprocated.
aren't there 5 of us?
I don't love myself.
Oh,
I love you four, not me.
Well, you should, Em. You're a lovely person.
I love you guys too. I love Bill more than the rest of you, but you know.
I suppose that's to be expected.
Do we still? Is that the way she stated
Yeah,
that?
that was very.
She's making some
oddly
assumptions right up front.
Question, yeah.
She hung out with us. She knows. She knows.
There's fucking Keck putting the goggles around again.
I did say we're celebrating 1 year producing our podcast and the fact that we still like each other.
Oh, so okay.
So I'm
She
the
set her
one
up.
that originally put the still in.
So then
Oh,
she
okay.
asks us a yes or no question.
Well, I mean, ask that question does imply that we did once previously like each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
It's
presumptuous.
very, very.
we liked each other, but now we love each other. You guys.
The four of you continue to put up with my shit, so that's saying something.
We don't have much of a choice. I mean, we
Yeah,
want
we're
you to
kinda
edit the
stuck with you.
podcast.
We
I
need to
want to
find out what
what's
happens
going
in the
on
story.
with the
We
Paladins
need
of
to. You
Cultus.
hold all the cards. Exactly. You got the
Because I'm
power.
fucking smart.
Yeah, if the podcast ended, would we still talk to each other?
For sure.
Once in a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
I'd send you Christmas cards.
John might talk to us the least. The Discord would still be hopping.
No, that's
Yeah.
my one of my favorite Shaft lines.
I'll send you a present.
I'll send you a Christmas card.
Yeah, and think of how we all felt when we actually got a Christmas card from you this season. So-
Oh yeah, you guys sent us a Christmas card.
Yeah, that was quite nice.
I can't wait
I
till we
wasn't
can all
expecting
hang
it.
out in person.
Yeah, me too.
It's been too long since we met John and Emily, but it's been too long.
Yes.
I know. Well, I
It's a
mean,
real bummer.
you know, once the world quiets down, I
Who
mean,
knows?
I'm unemployed, unfettered. So let's do it. Let's just put on the hazmat suits.
You
and-
are unfettered. The borders are
I'll
closed.
start walking.
This could be deemed essential travel.
Maybe. I mean, might not even be able to pop over to the next province soon and visit my mom, for God's sakes. The way shit's going.
I feel you. I mean, I just watched
Yeah.
my sister get married on
Yeah,
Facebook Live yesterday,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, that was something I didn't expect I'd experience in my lifetime.
Who knows when I'll be able to see my family again.
Yeah.
I think all weddings should be on Facebook Live.
Yeah, that's true.
I prefer Skype personally, but
I
I mean, if
yeah, it was a little
your
laggy.
sister can put a wedding on Facebook Live, we can put a podcast on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
What's Facebook?
We
can.
need to be
Yeah.
edited, Leland.
Yes, we need the edit.
Yes,
And,
you all do. Yes, you all do.
Uh-huh.
Leland's the
Mr.,
most
last
qualified
after
to
party.
comment on that.
Last after party, you said when you don't like the way you sound, you have been known to re-record your own segments. You
That's
said
hilarious.
I re-recorded stuff
It's
for,
documented.
for episodes, but I've never done that for an after party. That
Well, yeah, no.
I'll let you
And
know
I mean,
about.
you might cut out the 10 minutes of rambling that you had
I've-
10 minutes of rambling.
I
to
have
say.
sent Leland clips of me re-recording stuff that I've said as well. I'll be honest.
Yeah, there was one
I've-
splice.
So vain.
I don't remember what episode that was in. It was so masterfully done.
I
That was early
misspoke.
on.
Yeah, I used, what was the word? The word that I meant to say was integral, but I said another word that sounds like
Integral.
that, but does not mean the same thing at all.
Yeah, that's right.
Integer.
Now, that was a long time ago. Today, would you worry about that?
Less, for sure.
What? We're supposed to be more
barely
polished
slept that
now. You're
night.
supposed to worry about that more.
No, I'm a bit of a stickler for stuff like that.
As soon as I use a big word in real life with Bill, I ask him if I used it correctly. Because if I didn't, he'll tell me anyway. So there are times.
Not in public. I wouldn't.
No, not in public.
I
It's
don't
only
do it in public.
it's
just in
only day
private.
10 of quarantine together where I'm like, did I use it right, honey?
I don't care. You or a boat.
Nobody
It's
likes.
been-
Nobody likes the grammar or spelling or whatever
Police.
person. Yeah, I was going to use
Grammar
a good word.
police.
Yep.
A good word.
Oh, not a good word. I could have pointed it out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think that is it for questions now. Jeez.
Yeah.
You know what? 103 episodes and we have yet to nail a sign off on one of these fucking things. That I don't think will ever change.
Why start now?
Why start now? I don't know.
Yeah, why
Why
start
not start
now?
We got a couple things we want to plug still, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
don't even get me started on the plugs.
Oh, yeah, right. I don't know if we've ever mentioned this on air, maybe once or twice, but we have a Discord channel that anyone is free to join. It's sometimes chaos, sometimes quiet, sometimes in between.
Always
Yeah,
incorrigible.
we did talk about it on the last after party that we recorded 2 days ago. But yeah, never mentioned it before.
Well, that was a long time ago, Leland. What do you want from me?
Bill didn't take notes afterwards on that one.
Bill.
Yeah.
Did anybody
Didn't
add
have
that to the
my
website? Because I didn't.
Yeah, we should probably make the link available somewhere. I don't know how people are supposed to join it.
They really want it. They
They'll
can find it.
find it. Yeah.
Reach out to us on Incorrigible Part and tell us, hey.
Well, yeah, Emma popped up in there this past week. I don't know how she got the link to it.
We sent it to her.
Oh, okay.
Did we?
That makes... I
I
didn't.
didn't.
I didn't either.
Okay, fine.
What a creeper.
We didn't. She's just that good.
She's a
You
wizard.
gotta want it.
She's a wizard, Emma.
That keck. We should ask her. That's weird.
Oh my god. Can someone fucking wrap this up, please? I'm too tired to do it.
It's all right. You don't have to get up for work in the morning.
Okay, yeah, we got a Patreon thing because it's been a year and we've mentioned it before, so hey, it's out there. If I know times are rough right now and we don't really expect it to be anything amazing, but if you got a few extra bucks that you want to throw our way to help us out, that's great. If not, fantastic. If you decide to do it and you end up you're not being able to continue, then feel free to just cancel. There's no hard feelings on our end at all. We're just putting it out there so we can help keep the show going a little bit better, put out some more content, and we wanted to use that as sort of the tool to do it. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly don't like the lot of you anyway, so yeah, if you pledge and then cancel right away, no skin on my nose.
Yeah.
If they pledge and cancel, is their inspiration void?
That does void the inspiration. Yep, that's right.
It
Yeah.
voids
Right.
the inspiration.
While I do find it awkward to put something out there asking for money, I am excited about the things that we're offering. I think it's going to be cool for anyone who is financially able to. I think there's going to be some cool stuff that we'll be able to do through it, like giving the party or Leland if you want to see the world burn. Inspiration.
Burn more.
The world is burning already. Yeah.
Maybe, just maybe, it is in fact the incorrigible party that is in the way of quenching that fire that is burning Aspara. And I am the
Could be.
hero. Leland is the only hero in Aspara.
All right.
No.
So I've been Elena and Mia.
You started wrong.
I'm just trying to cut him off from declaring himself the hero here.
Oh, okay.
You just say no. That's all. It's just no. I don't accept that. No.
I reject your reality and substitute it with my own.
Yes.
This is the darkest timeline if Leland is the hero.
Now, I think to sign off here, I think the first thing we need to say is thanks to everybody who's been listening and to the show, and all the new listeners that are out there that are catching up. I mean, we're seeing a lot of new people downloading older episodes, and they may not hear this for a year or so, but
Yeah.
it is.
Hey, Dean. Hey, Jerry.
Number one. Huh?
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
Hey, Phil. Hey, Cassie. You'll get here eventually.
Cassie's listening to this.
Hey, Jen.
No, I think the main thing is we enjoy playing it together and recording it. That's great, but it is fun to interact with people and talk about the stuff that we're creating, and it does make the wider audience does make it a lot more fun.
We should say hi to Dave and Dave and Dave and Dave.
Yes.
Hey,
Exactly.
Dave.
Yeah, it's been pretty incredible, and just again, thanks to everyone who's listened and who interacts with us. I didn't expect that we'd have this many people who have followed along this long and who are as invested into it as a lot of these folks are. So that's very, very cool, and we appreciate it.
Anybody else want to say thanks to the audience there, Emily?
Thanks.
Elena, you're never short for words. Say something nice.
Ditto. Thanks for listening to me talk. I love talking. It saved Bill a load on therapy. That's for sure.
What?
D&D therapy.
Oh, I thought you meant you talking.
I mean, I don't
therapy.
pay you
I
guys.
think
This is free. You guys listen to me talk. It's perfect.
Talk therapy.
Talk therapy.
It's good for the soul.
Also, hammer therapy, magical bow therapy.
This is why we never end any of these.
Oh, this is why they go on for. This is why they become a bonanza.
It definitely became a
now,
bonanza.
I've got 2 chili beans. Does anyone have a stink bean?
Sorry,
Or a coffee
I'm
bean?
I got
cocoa,
coffee bean.
cocoa or
I
die.
would, but-
Yeah, I give you coffee beans.
Yeah, they're not in the
Those
right
other
order.
beans.
I really want those stink beans. But.
I got plenty of stink beans.
I'll
I'll
take
share with
2
you.
green beans.
I wonder how many people are going to get that.
Go fish.
reference.
Plenty.
That's a different game.
Are you sure?
You just ruined it.
Okay, so it's
All
been a
right.
fun ride. I've had a really good time, and I'm going to sign off and say I've been John and Shaft.
I have been Emily and Shakara and saying hi to Ian and Ian.
I'm Elena, and I've been Bryn, the best character to ever live and then die, and Mia.
And I'm Bill, and I've been Falzarin, and hi, Mom, if you ever listen to my podcast.
If you ever make it to this.
My mom doesn't listen either, Bill. She tried and she couldn't, so.
My mom,
We downloaded
I
it
downloaded
for
it
her.
on her phone, and she still hasn't listened.
And I'm Leland Steele.
Okay, re-record
Happy
that.
adventure.
If you're really the hero, you need to re-record that.
Happy adventuring.
Happy birthday.
Hey there, sports fans! Welcome to the semifinals of the IP March Madness 2020, where West meets East. Ale Master meets Orc Chieftain. Con Man turned Revenant meets Wooden Idol turned Badger. I know you're all itching to get into the action, and so are our competitors. In our first bout, it's Rugar Alebender versus Clash Bone Collector. Rugar immediately deploys his roving tavern and, still opening up his wagon, getting behind the taps, he's motioning for Clash to take a seat, and Clash takes a seat! Hailbender is eyeing him up now. They seem to be making some sort of small talk. The dwarf is pouring a drink. He slides it across the bar top right into the orc's open hand. The orc drinks it! Reports from the arena floor are in. It appears that Clash is getting some sage advice from Rugar. He pours him another drink. I've never seen this tactic work so flawlessly before, folks. But what is the dwarf's next move? He's pulled another lever on his wagon. And oh my gods, what is that thing? A strange spider-like eel creature has crawled out of a compartment in the back of Rugar's wagon. It's leaping on Clash. The orc seems paralyzed as the creature starts to tattoo his forehead. They're just leaving the arena. Clash and the creature have abandoned the fight. We've seen some strange things in this contest, but that one takes a cake. Rugar Ailbender has won his way into the finals. In our next bout, it's Sardo the Revenant versus Barriat the Vicious. It looks like Sardo has gotten some copper replacement hands in between matches. He swings them at Barry, easily connecting with the Badger. Sardo's metal prosthetics cripple the animal's back end. Barry's not giving up yet, though. He lashes out with blood-stained claws. But he doesn't have the reach or mobility to land a strike. Sardo is just toying with him now. The magician moves in to deliver the final blow, turning Barry back into a wooden idol. He scooped Barry up from the dirt floor now. He's carrying him over to a halfling in the crowd. Sardo is attempting to sell Barry off. I can't hear them up here in the booth, but I'm getting a direct feed right from the action. Sardo says 15 gold pieces. The halfling says nothing for less than a second. Sardo says he can go as low as 10 gold pieces. The halfling opens his mouth to reply. Sardo says, okay, 5 gold pieces. The halfling accepts. Sardo will face Rugar in the finals in our next episode.